Top 15 upcoming games 2013 to 2014. Number 15, Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, whether or not you think this game should be in this list, or perhaps that it should be higher up in the list, undoubtedly this game is going to be one of the top grossing games this year. I've put it at 15 because I want to wait and see. There's very little multiplayer footage at the moment, and that is obviously what the vast majority of people spend the most amount of time playing in the game. Single player details have of course been revealed, and the game will come out on November the 5th. The US apparently is no longer a superpower, and you're part of a band of elite soldiers called Ghosts. Apparently one of those guys is in fact a dog, or you can control the dog, as you'll see in this clip here.
Nice. Where'd the other one go?
Number 14, Splinter Cell Blacklist. Sam Fisher reprises his role in this game, but unfortunately it seems he took a bullet in the neck and now sounds completely different. Comes out August the 23rd, and the big selling point of this game is killing in motion, which basically means instead of just going stealthily one kill to another, you can now wipe out a whole troop of guys, one after the other, by marking like you could in Splinter Cell Conviction. Another cool little feature you may not have heard of is that if you're on the Xbox, you can call in Connect voice distractions, which means you can shout and the guards in game will come over to where they heard the shout from instead of Sam Fisher's copyright whistle. As for the single player story, the Blacklist is a series of planned attacks on the USA, and instead of 3rd Echelon you've been upgraded to 4th Echelon, and you've got to stop these attacks. The multiplayer sees the return of the coveted Spy vs Merc mode, which compared to the NPC modes in Conviction etc. was incredibly good. Number 13, Dead Rising 3. As you can see, the fictional city of Los Perdidos has got something of a zombie problem, which you, Nick Ramos, are going to fix. Game comes out at some point in November this year and is an Xbox One exclusive. Some of the new things, which in this game but not in the previous, you can now craft on the run. The guy you're playing is a mechanic, so if you wanted to make yourself a broom saw and you find a broom and a saw, that's how you make one. You can just kneel down and get that job done. It is a completely open world city like Grand Theft Auto is, and you've got to escape it before a military strike on there. So the game gives you a lot more freedom on the next generation of consoles than the previous games did. Number 12, Watch Dogs. Now this game has become something of a fan favourite. You're a sort of cyber spy kind of guy who can basically take control of the city with his mobile phone. Now some of you may disagree with the position of this game in this list, but I'm simply going by what I find to be the most enjoyable games, and to be honest, all of the games in this top 15 are pretty damn good. Game comes out November the 19th and is billed as an action-adventure stealth video game set in an alternative reality Chicago, where there's a supercomputer and those in control are, suffice to say, abusing it. But that's how you get to take control of all these things in the city, because they're all linked together. So you can use your phone to check people's bank details that you can see. You can use it to malfunction equipment. In the trailer, you sort of used it to hack traffic lights and cause a massive pile-up before eliminating one of the targets.
Get out! Get out! Stay low!
Number 11, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So once again, you're a member of the Kenway family, and one who perhaps enjoys a little more unconventional fun than the rest. He's a pirate. Does that mean that we're now playing as the bad guy, or is he still the good guy, or I guess on October the 29th we find out. Turns out that Pirate Kenway has got a few friends, aside from sharks of course, like Blackbeard. So if you're a fan of pirates, I don't know who is a fan of pirates, but if you are a fan of pirates, I'm sure you'll see some of your favourites in this game. The game is supposedly broken down 60% on land gameplay and 40% ship gameplay. Now that means that you'll be sailing between 3 of the major ports in the game, which are Harrington, Kingston, and I think the last one's called Nassau. But basically you've got both land and naval exploration in this game, including, controversially for some people, whaling. So if you fancied a bit of whale, then you can now have a bit of whale.
Join them under the black flag of Assassin's Creed 4.
Number 10, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I have to say, at E3 I was absolutely blown away by this game. It just came completely out of the blue. Comes out 2014 at some point for both the current and future generation of consoles. Now the game is supposedly split into two parts. The first part, Snake is infiltrating a Black Ops site in Cuba to extract a couple of prisoners, and I think that part is called Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, and that was what a lot of people thought the title of this game was actually going to be. But the second part, the Phantom Pain part I guess, is set during the Afghan-Soviet War, of course in Afghanistan. The game is completely open world, you can attack objectives as you please in it, and if you're a fan of the previous games, there are some new but also some old faces returning, notably Snake's enemy Ocelot, who's now sort of his friend, voiced by Troy Baker, who of course voiced Joel in The Last of Us, and also Booker in Bioshock Infinite, so it seems like they're pulling out all the stops for this game. Number 9, DayZ Standalone. If you're unfamiliar with this game, it places you in an open world where you've got to survive the current zombie apocalypse with any other players that you find. The alpha of this game is coming out at some point in July and aims to improve on every aspect of the mod. The map's been extended 20% further to the north and the west, and there's new islands, including Utes, out in the sea. 90% of the buildings are now enterable, most of the towns have been rearranged, there's a new crafting system, a totally new UI, even the map comes in several different parts that you have to piece together.
So there is, we've got military bases nearby. I mean, it's a 260 square kilometer map.
Number 8, Arkham Origins. Game set 5 years before Arkham Asylum, which was probably one of my favourite games ever made. As you would imagine, when the game comes out on October the 25th, you'll be playing as Batman, and he's brought with him a whole new set of tools, including the Batwing, which you can now use to travel from one place to another. Of course, Arkham City was pretty open world, and it seems like the world in Arkham Origins is going to be even bigger, so that's how you get from one place to another. There's also the Batclaw, which allows you to attach two enemies together, and as well as that, Batman now has some new detective skills, which lets him recreate crime scenes and solve puzzles by using that info. It's also worth noting that everybody's favourite voice actor, Troy Baker, is making a return in Arkham Origins as the Joker. He was, of course, in Arkham City, both Harvey Dent and Robin, and a whole host of other characters as well. Number 7, Mirror's Edge 2. Now so far, this is the only footage we've got of Mirror's Edge 2, made of course by DICE, confirmed to be coming out at some point in 2014, but I cannot wait for this game, because the original Mirror's Edge, with its free running through a futuristic, super clean looking city, it was so different to every other kind of game that when you reprise your role in this as Faith, I'm almost guaranteed it's going to be a good time. Number 6, The Division. This was probably the biggest shock, for me at least, at E3. Currently only coming out on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, although they are considering a petition to get this on PC. It is an MMO third-person tactical shooter. The game is set in an immediately post-apocalyptic New York, where a disease has caused society to collapse. You play part of an elite team set to try and resolve this crisis. As with a lot of next-generation titles, this game features companion gaming, so if you've got a tablet, then you can use it to, say, fly around a little bot to check out different parts of the city and things like that without having to go in there with your character.
Wow, yep. I'm gonna go in.
Number 5, Titanfall. So this is the first release of Respawn Entertainment. The guys who left Infinity Ward set up their own company because they didn't like the direction of the Call of Duty series. The game is said to come out Q1 2014 for the Xbox One and PC. It's multiplayer only with single player elements, which is actually quite a good thing because that usually means the multiplayer is going to be very refined. As you can see, you can either play as free running pilots or inside agile mech walkers, so Colonel Quadrich, eat your heart out. Number 4, Destiny. So this is the product of Bungie's new 10-year publishing deal with Activision. You play 700 years in the future. Humans have branched out during what was called the Golden Age to planets in the solar system. But then for some reason, there was a collapse of all of this, where all the colonies were destroyed and mankind was nearly wiped out, but was saved by a mysterious orb called the Traveller, which hovers above the last city on Earth. You play as either a hunter, a warlock, or a titan, whose job is to reinforce the city and find out what caused the collapse. So the game is dubbed to be an FPS with MMO elements, in the sense that it has a matchmaking system which actually limits the number of players you see in the world, determined by what you're actually doing in the world. It's confirmed to be coming out at some point in 2014 on both the current and future generation of consoles. Number 3, Battlefield 4. I don't think I have ever felt such anticipation for an upcoming multiplayer shooter. Battlefield 3 obviously contains some flaws, but now that this game is on the future generation of consoles and PC and the past generation, it could well become the definitive Modern Warfare shooter. It comes out on October the 29th and, to be honest, features everything that should have been in Battlefield 3. A new commander mode, the ability to swim underwater, counter knives, frostbite 3.0 destruction. As you'll see in this video, this whole tower gets destroyed once the underlying pillars are taken out. You can also play as female soldiers, and you play as 3 factions: the US, China or Russia. From what I've seen, both vehicle and infantry gunplay is a whole lot more satisfying as well. Number 2, GTA 5. Set in Los Santos, the world is now bigger than those of Red Dead Redemption, San Andreas and GTA 4 combined. Confirmed for release on the current generation of consoles on the 17th of September this year, it's not just a city anymore. There's beaches, mountains and a whole wilderness to explore. You play as either Michael, Trevor or Franklin, each of whom have their own abilities, and you can switch between them and work together at any point. If you want something different from the main story, you can of course indulge in all the extras: yoga, jet skiing, base jumping, golf, scuba, gym. You can pretty much do what you would do in any city. If you get bored, which is unlikely, why not buy yourself some property? Number 1, Star Wars Battlefront 3. Now it may surprise you that this is at the top of my list, given that they've only shown this small cinematic, but I've been waiting for so long to get a decent Star Wars game, and I really think DICE can nail it this time. They've already said you can fly from the planetary surface all the way up into a space battle, so it looks like it could be incredibly good. But thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next chapter.